experience, guys.
Welcome
we don't do seasons, but and y'all see, we got everybody here today.
Yes.
The whole fam here.
The whole family here. We back, y'all. And we got a special one for y'all today. We got Miss Shannon Smith of Channel 19 News, who is going to tell us about her amazing journey into the media or whatnot. So without further ado, how you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
How you doing?
I'm excited since y'all were all like, this is y'all first time back.
Yes. We had to get you. We knew you were the one who came more with the message and the messy when it comes to the news. And I love how you always spread the good word. Not only are you part of all these different organizations, you do the news, you mentor here, and she from the Great Lakes, y'all. She got a whole lot to tell and share with us. So let us know more, because we can't introduce you like you can introduce you.
Absolutely.
It's only but so much we can actually say. But you tell your part. We too excited.
Okay.
Yes.
It's so weird. Okay. It is. Like having, because you're always like talking about yourself. But yeah, I'm from Chicago, Chi-Town.
There we go.
I'm the youngest of 3 girls, so I am the baby of 4 girls.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And am I spoiled? Absolutely. By my father. He actually just called me too, and I have to come back. And I've been in this business now for a while. I started in news in 2012, which feels like forever ago, right? It was forever ago. But yes, and I have always wanted to be in this business. Honestly, because I talk a lot. I was that kid in school who talked all the time. And it wasn't that I didn't finish my work. Absolutely, I did. But when I was doing my work, I'm like, hey, girl, what's up? What's good? You know, my teacher's always like, okay, Shannon, like, chill out. But I did. I always liked talking, even, like, public speaking. I was in, like, musicals. Like, I was always that, like, very animated kid. I actually wanted to be an animator when I was really little, like, in animation, everything. Yeah. Then I wanted to be a backup dancer. Then I wanted to be a psychologist in high school. That's actually what I wanted to be going into college until a summer job. And shout out to my mom, because moms be knowing. And she was just like, you need to get a summer job. And she signed me up actually for this program called True Star Magazine. And that's what I really like owe my journalism start to, because True Star Magazine was created by 2 black women who used to be in the music industry, like behind the scenes, and they like started this magazine, and everything in it is done by teens. So like the reporting, the writing, the graphic design, the photography, and it was just like each group did something, and that was over the summer. And you got paid. Now I signed up too late that I didn't get paid, but I didn't care because I loved it. And they still had so many connections in the business that like I was in high school interviewing like Young Jock when he first came out, Trey Songz when he had braids, Angela Simmons.
That's all it was.
Right? When Paisley was a thing, like all these people, and I was like driving it, you know, these places. Keisha Cole, like when she was blonde and red, you know, like all these different people when they first started. When they first started, and so it was really cool because that was like, wow, I really like interviewing people, and I can take like what I really like doing and I'm good at because I loved writing too, to do both. And it was great. So that was when I was like, oh, you know what? Skip psychology. It's too much reading anyway. I'm going to go to journalism, and I'm going to go to broadcast.
Amazing.
And that's what I chose my major, and I majored in broadcast journalism.
Oh, wow.
And then, like I said, I've lived all over. I've lived in, my first TV station was Rockford, Illinois, which is like 2.5 hours from Chicago. So it was great because it wasn't too far from home. Then I went to Omaha, Nebraska for 2 years. Then I was in Fresno, California. Then I was in Buffalo, New York for 3. And then I came here to the land.
Yes.
The land.
The land.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Right on 90.
I know. It's crazy because I've driven from Buffalo to Chicago more than once, and I always cross through Cleveland. I was just like, oh yeah, Cleveland cute. But I didn't know I was going to live here. Just
so
years later.
To have you.
Yes.
So throughout your journey, you, like you said, you've met some amazing people, but you've also transformed and, or I don't know, I guess you've always kind of been just an amazing person yourself. How do you like manage that, like, because you have just an infectious energy that makes everybody comfortable, and I guess that would help with reporting. But how do you get people to like open up to you and kind of share their story and share their journeys of what they're into?
I think it's mostly just remembering, like, at the end of the day, we're all human. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't have my thing today. Y'all apologize, because that would have been a moment right there. I'm not
Ain't good.
It is. Like, I always tell people, especially people who start in this business, like, listen, if you go to a scene, it's somebody's like worst day ever, and you have to observe as a reporter, as a journalist, you have to observe people. So like, if I see somebody boohoo crying, I'm not going to just run up to them and be like, hey, can you talk to me? Like, you gotta sit back, give them a second. And I always am like, listen, the show gonna go on regardless, whether I get the story or not. So what I'd rather do is just slide you my card and say, listen, I'm really sorry, I have to ask because it's my job, but if you want to talk, if you want to share, you know, your loved one's story with me, like, go ahead. If not, I totally understand. But here's my card and information whenever you want to talk. Like,
the
I'm
human
like,
side of it all.
you know, because it's like at the end of the day, like, that's who we all are. And imagine, like, if that's me and my family, I don't want somebody running up to me with a camera, like, now, I always tell people, like, this is your time to share their story, their life, whatever you want to do. But, like, to me, I think it's just that. It's like remembering, like, at the end of the day, we all are human.
That's
and
good.
how would you feel, you know, if something's going on that somebody approached you? And I am, just like I said, I like talking to people, and I like to get them comfortable. Like, I have to remember that not everybody is used to being on camera every day. So, like, if they see a camera, they automatically freeze up. And it's like, no. I tell them, like, this isn't an interview, it's just a conversation. Like, just talk to me. You know what I mean? And most of the time, I'm talking to them before and after. Like, most of the time, my photographer is like, okay, wrap it up. Like, I stopped recording a minute ago. Because I'm like, yeah, you good? Like, what you know, how you doing? You know, like, I'm just talking to somebody because I don't know. To me, it's just, that's what my job is. It's like getting to know people and having a conversation with people rather than trying to dig and get information.
That's
like,
good.
those two different things to me.
No, and listen, so I got a question, because this is a personal question for me.
Not personal.
No. I mean, as far as, like, how do you get over the nerves? 'Cause I know being in front of the camera, it takes a lot. I'm as an introvert myself. It's a lot to be able to enunciate, to be able to not say make mistakes. You don't make mistakes or whatnot, but how do you get over the nerves of just being in front of the camera?
Honestly, I am never nervous getting in front of the camera. I think it's because in my mind, I just see the camera. You know what I mean? So I keep looking at it. I just see the camera. I don't think of everybody who's on the other side. I don't think about how I'm in somebody's living room or in their kitchen or on their phone. Like, I'm not thinking about that. What actually makes me more nervous, and probably because growing up I've always, like, danced and been on stages and performing, I'm more nervous to see people. Like, if somebody, like, no lie, Friday, my boss walked in during our 9 o'clock newscast. He was in the corner, and I suddenly got nervous. And, like, during commercial, I was like, why are you in here? Like, and he didn't even say nothing. He was, like, taking pictures. He was doing something, but nothing. Wasn't even paying attention to me. But I wanted to be like, what? You better text me, like, heads up, I'm about to come in. All I did was see him, or, like, my dad came to visit me. I think that was, like, last year or the year before, and he sat and watched the newscast, and I was incredibly nervous, like, that entire time. So if I see somebody and you in there watching, that makes me more nervous. If not, then I'm chilling. Like, I'd rather, the same way I used to be in performing on stages, like, if you see that front row, you can see their faces, that makes you nervous. But otherwise, it's just pitch black. You can't see anybody, you know? So I kind of think about it like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I like that right there, because I'll say, being on the podcast, I say I've gotten used to it, but when we're, like, live or we're in front of people, I'm like,
It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot, because what people don't realize is, like, being on TV is hard, okay? You second guess yourself all the time. It's times where I'm like, how do you pronounce it? I know how to pronounce that. Like lead, the word L-E-A-D. I put a pronunciation in there every time to say L-E-D, because I know that my mind is just, I'm reading, first of all, I'm up at the crack of dawn, and then I'm like reading so much for so long that I'm like, you know, sometimes you just like slip up and say something. And so I'm like, I gotta make sure that I'm not messing up. Now, people have said, like, no, we like when y'all mess up, because it makes you, you know, makes you normal. You're not a robot. And I'm like, that's cool, but I can't mess up too much. My boss is not going to be happy about that. But it is just like you constantly are critiquing yourself. Like, I watch the shows back almost every morning just to see myself, and just to really see, like, okay, was I... the way I was trying to, you know, show that, did I show it that way? Did that really come across that way? You know, because my goal is always, like, I'm not just reading. I don't even want you to feel like I'm reading. I want you to hear me and just be like, oh, she talking. That's all I'm trying to do.
That's
like,
good.
I was going to say that when you said you're reading all the time, and I know you have to read, and I was saying, like, it's to be able to come across like you're not reading is such a challenge. I mean, it's such a talent is what I meant to say, to come across and know where to add the emphasis and know where to sound sad or know when to. That's a talent.
And it's something that honestly in journalism school they don't teach you that. Like they don't teach you how to show emotion, because honestly, for so long you weren't supposed to. Like a news anchor or reporter was not supposed to show emotion. They were just supposed to read the teleprompter and that's it, you know. And it's like it's not even that now I'm gonna cry during a story, but there are times like I get choked up sometimes, especially when somebody is saying something and it's like a little sound bite and I hear it. Like you can't see me or hear me, but it is tough to listen to that and to hear that, like especially every day. So I am professional about it, and you do have to put up like your emotional walls, but at the same time, like that's a skill that they don't always teach you in journalism school.
I think that's the natural talent that you have to have in order to be a journalist, to be able to, you know, come across as genuine and to be able to read and know when to emphasize and know when to, you know, switch up how you're coming across. I think that's the talent that you have to have in order to be in a profession such as yours.
It is, because you have to read the room, and you gotta it's literally like you can ad-lib some things, you can freeze out some things, but then you have to know when not to react to things. Like sometimes there might be a story that it was like, dang, you wanted to say something, but now we gotta tease and it's about Israel at war. So it's like, well, I can't react to that because we got to move on. Like you gotta know like when to pivot, when to not do, when to say things. You gotta listen. Like I'm always trying to listen to what our meteorologists are saying so that I can say that when I have to like tease stuff, because everybody thinks on the teleprompter that everything is written, which it is, but some stuff is not written. Like when I'm talking to a meteorologist, that's not in a script. It's not scripted necessarily. It's just me and Jeff talking. Like
shout out to Jeff, by the way. I like Jeff.
Oh, Jeff is my man. Okay, people do not know. Like I love Jeff Tanchek. Okay, I really, really do, and it's just because like. And I love all my coworkers, like Kelly, Jamie, because we all do have a great time. And we talk, like, we're usually during commercial breaks talking to the point. Sometimes my producer's like 30 seconds, like 20 seconds. Like, okay, y'all, like. Or like the other day, Jeff was laughing at me because I clearly I'm sitting at the desk for so long, so I eat my breakfast at the desk most of the time. And I literally had a bagel, I had my cream cheese, I had my knife, and I was like at the desk doing like this. And Jeff is like, we got 30 seconds. And I said, I know, you're first. Like, I got time to eat because they ain't coming to me yet. But I said, but shout out to you for checking me and making sure like I'm not out here and y'all see me like mid-bite. But I was like, I'm hungry.
I must say, when you see women on the news, their outfits are just kind of
boring.
And yours, I was gonna say average. I was gonna say average. I was trying to stay away from boring, but you bring it. Outfits are always so super cute. Like, oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Honestly, it's something that again they don't teach you in journalism school. In fact, what they told you was put a blazer on and that's it. And I'm just like, nah. Like sometimes it's. Part of being on TV to me is also like learning your body type, learning your skin type, learning your hair, like learning yourself to a T. So I know like I am tall, I have long legs, so I love wearing pants because it does look nice. And plus, who want to wear a dress when it's 20 degrees outside? Like, even if I'm indoors, like it's cold in the studio sometimes, so I don't want to wear a dress. Plus, I just don't feel like it, and so I like the fact that. I just like to play around with style because I don't think it should be boring. You know, I just like to be able to kind of break away from the norms of news. Like whether it's to my hair, whether it's to my clothes, whether it's the way that I anchor. Like I just feel like gone are the days that you have to fit into this box. And it's like, nah, you can really make it your own. So yeah, when it comes to
and let me say, this is her hair.
It is.
If you haven't seen her in person and you're watching and you're wondering, this is her hair. Like that every bit of it. Like it's beautiful.
That all the time. Somebody's always like, "Is that how your hair?" I say, "Yes." In fact, it's funny though
in person. You can tell in person.
Some people
right
don't
away.
think that. In fact, it was like I actually made a post recently about my hair because I was just getting a lot of people saying little stuff, and it wasn't a whole lot. It was just a few, but all it takes is a few. And like every day, sometimes you're not feeling it because one. one man had commented on my page and said like, oh, you know, you do a great job. You always look so nice. But my wife says you're going to get out your sew-in. I said, oh.
Oh, wow.
The nerve.
Okay.
What? Are you serious?
I said, cool. I'm like, that's cool. I said, well, first of all, let her know it's not a sew-in. Okay, let's start there.
Start there, right there.
Let's start there. And I'm just like,
but
but
my
also,
wife said you
like,
gonna get.
I was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. What people don't realize is because I wake up so early, who has the time?
Right.
Like, do you think? No. I usually am walking into the station with my bonnet on, with my hood on, with my bonnet on, and then I snatch it out. I do.
That's crazy.
And it's a lot. That's a lot of hair to keep up with. Period.
Yeah.
I've had people be like, oh, well, maybe you should like switch it up, like just try a style. Who has the time? Do you think I'm
Right.
gonna like? No, we have a fight every day, me and my hair. And I just be like, sis, whatever you want to do,
love
I'm
it.
cool.
I love it.
So when I pull that bonnet off,
love
however
it.
it is,
What it is.
I may
Yes.
manipulate a little bit, but I'm just like, no, I don't have the time. You know, I like to just be able to get up and go and do it however.
So I appreciate being the man, because I can just get my hair cut.
Exactly.
I'm on my
Exactly.
growing hair journey, and
Listen,
I'm gonna
no, it
wear
looks
curls.
beautiful, yeah.
All the you're gonna have to pull them off of me.
Yeah.
Pull them out of me, like come with me with a flat iron, like because I am going to wear my curls. I love it. I love
and
big
it's just
hair.
like, I know, I love it too. And it's funny because my coworkers, even when I did wear my hair straight, back in February I did, and they were just like, no, like your straight hair is cool, but like your curls is it? Because they were just like, it fits you, like it's so much more your personality. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, haven't y'all heard of a signature look? Beyonce does it. You don't see Beyonce doing nothing else. And that's what we're doing. I'm not changing
The audacity, though.
the audacity. And I'm just like, at the end of the day now, it's even more like there was a time, and I mean a recent time, where people weren't wearing their hair naturally. Like any woman on air, they were not wearing locks, they were not wearing braids, and now it's a whole thing. It's
It
like,
is.
just to be able to have
Yeah.
that freedom. And I'm just like, listen, my bosses knew how my hair was when they hired me. And they have no problem. No problem at all. Like, they've never said, oh, no. Like,
Right.
no, don't, no, like, no.
That's
Never
good
said
right there.
that. So I'm just like, no. And if it's a distraction, change the channel.
So simple.
My bosses don't like that, but
I like that.
They want to see you. They want to see
yeah,
you.
like
We look
what's
forward to it.
I say, as long as I will never like disrespect my parents and look crazy or myself, like no,
Yeah.
I will always. But it's like sometimes, and again, that's the hard part about being on TV is like you're critical of yourself, and so is everybody else to a T. Because it's like I can't have an off day. Like I can't come in looking crazy.
Right.
Like, I can't come even if I don't feel like it. Like my grandmother passed away in February of this year.
I'm sorry.
I thank you, and I like when I didn't go to work the next day, but like after that, I did go to work. I had to, you know, and it was like, do I want to be on TV every day? No, I want to walk in with jeans. I just want to like relax and not. But you have to be on, and that's what people don't realize.
Right.
It's like, and it's not even like I'm on for 30 minutes. No, I'm on from 5 to 8, and then again at 9. Like, so I'm on all morning, and so it's just like I don't get to have an off day. So sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, if my hair wasn't nice that day, it's because I didn't fix it the night before, and because I went to sleep, and because I didn't have time in the morning, and like I woke up late or something, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I can't be perfect every day. Like,
So your job, I know, you're reporting, and I know they have a lot of the information for you, but do you find yourself constantly watching the news, reading the news, always trying to keep
Or the
up with
opposite.
everything? Or do you,
Yeah.
are you like, oh my God, I've done enough. I can't look at it anymore.
people love to say, oh my gosh, sorry, like if they don't watch 19, they're like, sorry, I don't watch 19. That's it. I don't either when I'm not there. I don't, because you have to like have a balance of, if that even exists, of like, I'm there already, I've done the research, I know what's going on, and I always have like the notifications on my phone from like CNN or CBS or even from my station, but sometimes it's like, no, I have to cut it off. Like I have to, when I'm at home, I have to be like, no. Now sometimes if it's something major going on, sure, and I still check my emails, but I cannot like constantly be taking in all that information, and then
That's a lot.
even
That's
when
a
I'm
lot.
at home, like some people are newsies to a T, and they'll do it all day long, but I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
I gotta watch like my trash TV. I gotta watch my 90 Day Fiance. Like I was on my Love and Hip Hop. Like that's my life. Like because I need a balance.
Get a
That's my balance.
Right, I got you.
With the real world, I need, because watching reality TV to me is like, that makes me feel like, wow, what's really happening in the world? Look at the reality. Look at the
That's good.
insaneness of this stuff. Like,
Right.
that makes me feel better. It really does. I need something.
Yeah, I get it.
So I got a
Balance
question.
out.
And so you 2012. So we're talking about you were there at the beginning. With the evolution of media, we're talking about podcasts, we're talking about radio, so we're talking about all that. Where do you see the future of media going? Because I don't lie to you, I'm 36. I don't know too many people my age who are actually looking at the news. They actually, unfortunately, get their news from Instagram nowadays, social media and whatnot. Where do you feel like the future of media is going towards?
It's digital. Like, that's why most newsrooms now, if you look at jobs, most of the jobs are like digital jobs. It's you know, working for the website and like writing stories, or it's being like a digital reporter, and maybe you have a camera and you're going out shooting content, and that it's maybe exclusively just for the website. And that's because, you know, TV is realizing like, yeah, not everybody is sitting at home watching the television, and even if they are, they're on their phones, they're on their iPad, they're doing something else. Like, that's why in the morning we always tell my producers, like, when you write stuff, you have to write it for the ear, because people are halfway listening. Most of the time they're getting ready, they have the news on, but they're getting ready, they're doing other things. So you got to make sure that like whatever you're writing is very conversational and just like basic information, and it's not too much. But I do see the evolution, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like it's always going to change. Media has always changed. Like, it's gone from TV, it's gone from radio. Now podcast is a major thing, and just digital media is a major thing too. So I think it's a good thing as far as newsrooms having to adapt to that, and they've adapted, you know, always over the years and over the times. But they are really putting an emphasis on digital platforms. For example, like in our newsroom, we have what we call like an OTT desk, and it's basically it's literally called Over the Top. And I thought somebody was joking when they said that. I thought my boss was lying. I said, nah, you're not, because we do be over the top. So I'm like, nah, you lying. But it really was over the top. It really does mean that. And it's just a digital desk. It's right in the middle of our newsroom, and it gives us the ability to go live anytime, anywhere. So like, we could, you know, The Price is Right could be on, but our digital anchor, he can literally be in the newsroom at 11 o'clock and go live from whatever. That ability, it also allows you to take like a reporter could be live in the fields. You could take them. You could play video from there. You can, but it's like, it's literally like a switchboard, and it's, you are the person who's doing all that though. The person who's standing there, like, you are controlling the mics, you're controlling the video, you're controlling the live shots, like you're controlling all of that. So it's like 6 jobs in one. and like, I do sometimes, I have the ability to do that because I was trained on it, and then other people can. But we literally have two of my coworkers are digital anchors, and they literally, that's their job, is they do different stories from that desk. And they also can go, they can fill in anchor, they can do whatever else, but they literally do that every day.
I know, I was tripping. I'm like, the Shade Room was reporting on Israel and Palestine. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, Shade Room. But cause back in the day, I remember just being in the Shade Room with just that, you know, gossip, all that and stuff. Now I'm like, they're kind of real news. I'm like, okay, all right, Shade Room. Okay.
And it's crazy how they cross, right? Like how these media outlets that we knew just to be like traditional, more gossip sites are now covering news stories, and then news is covering stuff that you're like,
Exactly.
What? Like, cause I know people are like, how is this news? And we're like, well, y'all wanted it. Like, because I think people think,
what they want.
People think that like we just choose whatever, and it's like, no, we do go off of what people want. Like, what are more popular stories on our website that y'all are looking at? And we have research teams, you know, like who do focus groups and talk to people and communities and those who watch to say like, okay, well, what do you like? What in your, you know, hierarchy of news, like, what do you like to see? How do you care about, like, how it's, you know, shown to you? All those different things. So we're not just making it up.
I'll go with my next question. I'm going to ask you what the analytics that goes into that, because, like I said, I've seen the evolution, like I said. And I think Deion Cole, he said it best. He said that
the evolution of the news is that you see older men and younger women as newscasters, because that's for some odd reason we don't want to see older women giving the news, which he said was so crazy.
Yeah.
But I say that to say is that I feel like news is forever changing to stay up with the times or whatnot. And like I see it. But once again, like I said, I don't know too many people my age who are going to watching the news on actual TV versus watching on social media.
And that's why a lot of like TV stations now have Instagram pages, YouTubes. Like we have a YouTube channel, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook. I think we have a TikTok. I don't know. I don't think so. We might.
The apps.
We might have a Snapchat. Yeah, like you have all those things. And most of the time, if we have a story, we will always like tease and say, hey, we're streaming this live. We'll be streaming this live for you at 10, or that announcement that the governor is having, we'll stream that at 11 for you, so that we know everybody is always on their phones constantly. So we have adapted to that of like, and even when the stuff that we post, like now our digital team will post those videos and make them specifically for Instagram or for YouTube or for Facebook, like IG Reels or whatever.
Okay. Listen. And I love it because once again, you guys aren't staying stagnant and like.
Oh yeah.
Still with the newspaper, like like my grandfather still does.
Yeah, you can't, because I mean, if you do, it's like, you're gonna get left behind. You know, like, and TV's not going anywhere. TV news is not going anywhere, despite like everything that happens around it. It's not going anywhere.
No, I got you.
It's not, because people still gonna turn on that TV. They're not watching.
Well, it might play in the background. I might hear my phone, but it's in the background.
They're still gonna watch it. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, granted, you could go to Facebook and Instagram, and you can get your news from there. But most of the time, I mean, I follow news sources on those platforms. Not everybody does, but it's like still, news is still a trusted source. It's still a way that people want to get their information.
I got you. Okay, side question. So. Take me, for instance. I know I'm a little bit older, but if I wanted to become you real funny. My kid's back, y'all.
She said, don't laugh.
Right.
I'm not that much older.
My question is like, so if I wanted to become a newscaster, how would I go about, getting myself out there to be able to be eligible to be able to cast the news?
Everybody thinks that you have to go to journalism school. Not necessarily. I mean, I did. That was my path. I went to journalism school. I studied it for 4 years. I got my degree, and then I did internships even my senior year of college, and then got a job. Maybe 3 months after college. But it is now like some people they have. In fact, like the Ohio Media School here is a really great resource because people
I signed up for that school at one point.
Yeah,
I did, because I was like, I had to tell myself, I was like, you're too afraid to be in front of the camera like that. You're not gonna be fluid. You're not gonna be. So I had to have a talk with myself. That's how I felt at the time. I was like, I don't think that's for you. Like, you can learn how to do it, but you have to be comfortable, is what I told myself. And I was like, are you comfortable? And I was like, no.
Look at you now. In front of the camera.
Look at me now. Comfortable. Look at me now.
Look at you. But that is it.
Sorry
is because because that is it. Is I think people think like, oh, I have to go to school, and you should, as far as just getting the fundamentals. But I'll be honest, even the stuff I learned in school, it doesn't even exist now. Like, it's not the same, because in college you had like a week to put a whole story together. You have all of 2 hours maybe now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have all that time. Like, you are doing stuff for the news that day. So it is like certain things that they don't really I don't want to say they don't exist, but it still doesn't translate the same way. So now I feel like if you go to school now for journalism or for broadcast journalism, it would be great, because you're learning. In fact, at Ohio Media School, you're learning how to do a podcast, all of the behind the scenes work that like we didn't have that course in college when I was there. So it's like, it's nice because you are now ahead of the times. In fact, you might be ahead of the game than most people who are still in the business, because you're learning all the new things that now they're just now getting accustomed to. Because it's like, we have to also know, when it comes to digital, like, we have to know how to put a story online, how to write a script, how to add tags to it, how to add the video to it and clip it and all of that. So it's like, it's tough, because those who are much older and have been in this business for so long. They're like, I don't know how to do that. Like, you know, I said, like, I didn't have to do that, you know, or working a camera. Like, yeah, I know how to work a camera. A lot of people don't because they didn't have to know how to because they always had a photographer. They always had a photographer. So it's not that if you wanted to now, like I always tell people, like, one, shadow somebody who's in the business because then you could really learn what it's like and what job you could go for. Everybody wants to be in front of the camera. It is not the job for everybody. Like, and there are so many jobs behind the scenes that are way more important. Like I joke with my producer all the time because a producer is somebody who, when they come in, the show is a blank canvas. There's nothing in there. It's nothing written. It's nothing. It's blank. We call it a rundown. It's blank. A producer is the one who decides what stories are going into the newscast, what order they will go in, whether I'm going to see the anchor on camera or whether I'm going to have video for this story. They're the ones writing the story. Like I tell people, if you like to be in control, be a producer because you have control over everything. And we always joke because he's just like, nah, you the boss. And I'm like, actually, you're the boss. I'm kind of just a puppet. You tell me when to talk and what to do and I'm just here. And he's like, no. But it is so many other jobs. There are photographers, there are directors, like it's so many other things that you can do just being in front of the camera. And people don't know that because they just know reporting or being an anchor. And I'm like, no, but shadow someone else. Because we need other jobs.
Right.
Since you have been in so many different places, how do you feel? Do you feel like it's difficult to get in the door, like when you go for, like when you decide and you know where you want to go, or you say, hey, I saw a job here or I saw a job there, I'm gonna try out for that. Do you feel like it's difficult to get in?
When you first start, yes. Like I'll never forget in my first job, my brother-in-law had called me and he was like, don't just take anything. I said, no, I will. Because I need to get in the door. And I said, I don't care what it is. I am going to take it, you know, because I just need to get in the door. And it wasn't, I say get in the door in the job that you want to be. Like if you want to be a reporter, don't just take a producer role. Because people will tell you, go ahead, but you you trying to be a reporter. If you take a job as a producer, when are you gonna have time to report? When are you gonna have time to even practice that? Like you're not gonna have time to do that. You know, like you can only. So if you're gonna try to get in the door in the job that you want to do. It can be tough, but not really. Like honestly, if you have like a really good, what we call a resume tape or reel, which is really nice to make now because you could just throw it up on Instagram or throw it up on, you know, Facebook, and like it can be seen and shared. Like if you have that, then you can definitely be seen by people. Now, a lot of times in this business, people will get agents. I do have an agent. Shout out to Alvita. Love her. That's my fairy godmother, as I call her. But you don't always have to get an agent when you first start out, because the thing with an agent is you have to pay them, and even if they didn't find you a job, you still have to pay them. So like I always tell people, like I was very stingy with my money because I wasn't making much when I first started. So I was just like, oh no, I can't afford no agent. You know, I'm not. And you have to just be, an agent is somebody who's there to like vouch for you, who's there to negotiate your money, who's there to like negotiate things for you. So you really want somebody who has your best interest and who's not just looking at like the percentage and how much of your money that they could take. And like my agent, I had told her straight up, like, I ain't got no money. And she was just like, no, well, we'll start very, very low, you know. And I was like, shout out to you, Alvita. And she was the one too, like her and her agency, like she was like, no, I really want you. I signed with her, in like 2016, I think? Yeah. And I remember she was just like, oh, like, I want you to, she sent me all these pictures of Michelle Obama, was like, you see all these bright colors she's wearing? That's what, and I said, say less.
It works.
I got you, you know. Or she was like, her hair, you see it? Like, yes, you know. And I remember even her boss was telling me, like, I want you to get so comfortable with your skills that, and you have your own signature in the way that you present yourself, that like somebody could just be hearing the TV and be like, oh yeah, that's Shannon Smith. Like that's what, and I was like, where can I sign? I'm signing with y'all. Y'all just got me together real quick. Like, and they were like, and they were great. So I tell people, like, it is, and when it comes to what people don't realize is if you want to maybe become like a network correspondent and work for CNN or CBS News or any national network, that you do probably need an agent. Not all, but most people do get an agent. And they're kind of like what we call feeder stations. Like, let's say if you work for a CBS affiliate, or like in Philadelphia, there's a CBS Philadelphia. Then like that could kind of put you on the track. If you wanted to go to CBS News National, you could, or like certain things like that. So it is a lot of like inner workings that people don't. Again, they don't teach you this in journalism school. They don't teach you that. But it is a business too. So it's like, it just depends on what you want your journey or career to be. Like, what's your top goal that you're like, okay, let me see how I could get there and what I need to do to get there.
So how do you decide between projects? Is it like you're just like, okay, my journey here is over, or is the actual position? I know the position is not over, but like how does that go? You're just like, okay, I want to be somewhere else. How does your journey go with switching the job?
So most of the time when you sign on for a job, you have a contract. So I am under contract. I came here in 2020 when I actually came originally as the weekend evening anchor, and then got promoted the next year to, actually less than a year, to morning anchor. So when I became morning anchor, I re-signed another like 3-year contract. And so usually that's it. Is like, if you have a contract and it could be 2 years, 3 years, then if you decide like, or it might be your job, be like, well, I want to re-sign you, then then you will have to move on to some other place. But some people do, they may stay longer than their contract and they'll just keep re-signing. Others, it might be like, let's say if you started in a much smaller market, because there is it's a TV market list, and it's literally from 1 to 100. So like the top 3 markets are usually like LA, New York, and Chicago. Cleveland is 19. Cleveland was 19, 17. We usually like teeter-totter between those two.
Cleveland.
They like top 20. And it is
you
like
get into
every
Cleveland.
city. I know. So
you get into Cleveland.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, I think we used to be even maybe higher up than that. But so it is like most people will say like, oh, I want to be in the top 30, or I want to be in the top 20, or top 10. And it is like higher. Like I think Dallas is maybe like number 5. So it just depends on, and it's not always like, oh, how big the city is. It just depends on the city, and you can always like look it up. It's on, you could Google it and you'll see like top 100. But from there, it is like most people want to jump markets. So they may be in a market that's like, I don't know, 98, and like a very smaller city. And so they're like, but I want to get to a top 30, or I want to get to, or I want to get back home, and that's a top 10. When you get to top 10s, those are, or even top 20, like those are decent sized markets. And it just depends on, sometimes where you go, it just depends on like the timing, what positions are open, and what you want to do. Because some people may go from, like, for example, when I was in Buffalo, I was the weekend morning anchor, and then I came here as the weekend evening anchor. Now, some people may be a weekend evening anchor in a small or in a bigger city, but then they may go to a smaller city to be a main anchor, who's like an evening anchor. So it really just depends on the job and like what your aspirations are. If you want to be a main anchor, you might start as a main anchor in a smaller city, like Norfolk, Virginia, and then you may from there be there a few years, kind of really get your going, and then you may end up in like a top 10, or may go back home.
I wondered how that went.
And for you, how long have you had Sebastian?
Oh, my dog. I've had, because some people may think like, man, Sebastian is my man. That's my dog. I've had him. I actually adopted him when I was in Buffalo, so that was 2014.
Okay, so he just travels with you. That's
yeah. He just rolls with me, And it's crazy because at the time when I was in Buffalo, I didn't even have my car because I had sold the car that I had. I didn't have a car. I was like Ubering to work every day, and I Ubered to the SPCA and got him. His name was Post Malone. By the way,
Wow.
swear. And I asked all them ladies, and I said, who named him? Do you know who Post Malone is? I like showed her a picture, like, because I know y'all ain't named him up in here. But he came from like Houston. I believe it was like the hurricanes there that he probably got like displaced, and then they sent him to Buffalo, and that's my dog. We are like obsessed. And it's funny because everybody thinks that I've had him since he was like born. And it's like, no. He just mine.
Well, that's cool though. So that's your only thing. So anytime you got the opportunity, you can take it.
And that's, for the longest, I didn't even have a dog because I was like, my schedule is just like whatever. But honestly, getting a dog was the best thing because, especially during the pandemic, oh my gosh, Sebastian was like my saving grace. Just to be able to walk outside and like we would go on our walks every day, and then just like it's nothing like when everything is going crazy in the world, just to have this dog who's like looking at you like, hey, let's play, like, how are you okay? You know, like he don't know what I'm mad about, but he just in my face. And sometimes I'm just like, I can't even be mad because it's just like, you know, a pet's love is just amazing. And it was like, dang, you need that sometimes. Just like what everything else is going on. So, yeah.
No, good stuff right there.
Yeah, he was like great to have.
So I have a question. So what do you feel like are essential things a person needs to have in order to be a media personality or in the news? Because I mean, of course your opinion is a little bit, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be skewed because you're, you know what I'm saying, you're in it. But what do you feel like are some that essential things a person needs to have to be in the media space?
I think one, a passion for the news. Like, don't get in it just because like, oh, you want to be on TV. Like at this point, anybody can be on camera. You can start your own YouTube channel at home. Like if you're gonna get into the news and be a journalist, then like actually want to do the news and tell people's stories and tell it in a way that matters. You know, like because that to me is the most important thing. Like news is tough, and there are days when I'm just like, do I really want to do this? But I also want to make sure that like our stories are being told in the way that they should be told, and that everybody's stories is being told in the way that it should be told, and it's not just being told however. Like it's like, no, there's a way in which this should be. And I've gotten into arguments with people before in the newsroom because I'm just like, nah, we're actually not doing that like that. Like, nope, sorry, like we're not doing that, you know. And it's because it's like so have that. It is a thing that when you get into the news, you do learn your voice. But once you have that voice, like, use it. I know it can be scary because people think they're going to be fired over everything. And it's like, no. And I'm not saying use it on social media. I'm saying use it in the rooms that matter. Like, use it in the rooms, like, use it in your newsroom meetings. Use it when it comes to your boss and being able to talk to them and have, like, a good relationship or a good rapport. Or educating, like, your coworkers if they do have any questions about certain things. Like that to me matters because part of your job as a journalist is to educate people, like both in the newsroom and outside of the newsroom. So it's like have that, like you do have to have integrity, and I know that's something that like you should already have, but it's something that is like you have to have integrity in just the way that you're presenting the information, and you gotta have you gotta know that you're gonna have to research things. Like I'm not an expert in a lot of different things, but as a journalist, I have to become an expert in a lot of different things. Like we were just having that conversation the other day with my co-anchor because we were just like, man, in college they used to always do these current events quizzes. Like you had to know everything, and it's like you really do because anything could happen and you need to know things. For example, I could be doing a show and my producer could say, hey, there's a press conference going on right now with the president and, you know, U.S. Secretary of State. And then we're about to take it right now. So, like, after the story, you need to toss to it. Well, I need to know who the Secretary of State is. You know, like, I need to know that. And if I don't, then it's like, okay, you know, and it's like I do. So it's like, okay, then I could go off the cuff. Like, I don't need the teleprompter. And I could just ad-lib and say, like, okay, we're about to go to this press conference. Not live. It's with President Joe Biden and U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken. They're about to talk about da-da-da, you know. So it's like you have to have that, and also just having confidence. I mean, like that's something that you would think is like so easy, but it's like I'll never forget one of my old coworkers in my very first station. She was like, you kind of sound like a little kid when you talk. And she was like, you know, even on air, and she was like, you have to be authoritative, you know, and let people know like whatever you're saying is important, and that's how your voice should sound, and that's how your tone should be. And I was like, oh girl, I got it, okay.
Thanks for the
I
tip.
will. I know, and she did. It's like everything, and that's the thing too. You have to be okay with being criticized, and not in a bad way, but you do have to know how to take constructive criticism, because everybody who is like giving you criticism is not a hater. Like sometimes they're right.
You heard that?
Everybody's not a hater. Like they're not, you know. And some people are like really trying to help you.
Yes,
they're really trying to help you, and whether that's like from how you dressing or how you look to even just how you're speaking or whatever, like no, you got to be okay even with your bosses. You have to be okay with them because they hired you. Like that sometimes you make mistakes, but it's like you got to be okay with constructive criticism. Now, right, being able to decipher between the two, but you do have to be able to take it too, because you gotta have thick skin for sure. That should be my number one. You gotta have thick skin in this business, because everybody hates the news, right? I get it. It is tough to watch sometimes, and I tell people like. They're always like, you all don't tell any good news. And I'm like, we do, you just don't watch long enough. Like, for real. Because I kid you not, you can watch an hour-long newscast, and it's not all just bad news. Like, you can watch a 30-minute newscast. It's not all bad news. Like, I understand. You only saw 5 minutes, and you were like, I'm turning. But
I read something about it, and it was just saying that that's what we want. We don't want to turn on the TV and it's the whole time. It's literally what we want. So that's why it's broadcast like that. Also, it's the ratings. It's what we pay attention to.
What it used to be was literally every newsroom used to abide by this. I mean, like 50s, 60s, 70s, all the time. If it bleeds, it leads. If it bleeds, it leads. That was literally like the point. That is what... So in your evening news, even if it was at noon or whatever time, if it was bloody and gory or whatever, that is what was the lead story. And now times have changed and it's not so much. I think sometimes though what people forget is like, you're gonna be mad if we don't tell you what happened though, down the street. You're gonna be mad if I don't tell you. Like, the goal is that we understand that people's attention spans are way shorter now. So we're trying to give you everything that you're gonna want in those first 8 minutes. That's weather, that's traffic, that's news, that's something nice today, like all those things. And now I tell people like, if you watch the news now, it is not the same as it was even 10 years ago. Honestly, not even 5 years ago. Because specifically on the morning show, like, we are trying to stray away from so much crime. My bosses have literally said like, don't do all those crime stories in a row. Like, you gotta switch it up. Y'all gotta move some things around. Like, you can't, because nobody wants to hear crime, house fire, this happened. Like, you have to spread that out. And so I tell you, like, I promise you, like, watch, because now it's different than what it used to be.
We are a lot more personality in the mornings. Like, you guys, like you said, y'all, you can tell y'all actually do have a relationship where y'all speak to each other outside of the camera. But y'all make it fun, and then y'all highlight a lot of stuff that's going on in the city, not just the network. A lot of positive stuff going on in the city, and y'all are a part of a lot of stuff going on in the city. The is it Mentor and Mind?
Oh, Minds Matter. Yeah. I actually just started working with them, with mentoring a lot of students. They start in their sophomore year, and then you like stay with them through their senior year. But it's a really great program because it helps teens just kind of figure out what they want to do. And a lot of them already know they're super smart, and they're just like, no, I want to do this, I want to do that. But it is because I feel like nowadays we're so quick to tell teens and younger people like, no, you can't do that, or you trying to do too much. And it's like, no, just honestly, all you have to do is like encourage them to find what they really want to do, because most adults are struggling to figure that out now. And it's like, if you just help people on that, like, whatever their passion is, that can literally turn into their job. What are they good at? Like, that's why I'm always like, oh, you like to talk? How would you like to work in this? Like, how would you like to do this? Like, because it is like finding what somebody is good at and what they can do. So yeah, I do, and that's what I tell people, like, being involved is one thing that I do pride myself on in news, is because how else am I supposed to know what else is going on if I'm not involved in what's going on? And I always tell people, like, if something's going on that you want to see on the news, tell us. Like, please tell us. I always tell people, send me an email. I will give you my direct email address, because we get a lot of emails all day that it's just like, it could get lost in the shuffle. And if it's a good event, like, I hate to say if the subject line isn't right, but like, it could be glossed over. People may think it's like a PR or something. So I'm always like, no, send it to me. I'll try to make sure. And I tell people, if you ever want to make sure something gets on the news, if it's a weekend event, send it in, because it's never anything really going on the weekends. Like,
you should have sent about this.
Look, I should have sent it.
We know now.
Like, send it, because all the times, like, the news still goes on the weekends, and like, they need things to fill their shows, and they would absolutely love to send it, like, absolutely love to fill it with good events. Like, that's
someone just told me yesterday, like, I hosted a wine and beer festival,
which is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you so much. But it was at Kane Park, and just going over things to do for next year. you know, things that we should change, things that we should add, and they were like, you should make sure that the news is there. Why didn't you have the news there? And I was like, that's a great idea.
I'll give you my email address. Send it to me, because that's it. Like, yeah, it's always, and I tell people, like, don't try not to do it the day of. Like, definitely don't do it the day of, because people will send stuff the day of. Like, don't send it the day of. Don't send it the day before. Like, if anything, maybe try to send it like at least 2 weeks out, and then you can send it more the week of, because sometimes stuff happens, and I know people get upset if we don't cover stuff, but it's like sometimes we have breaking news. Sometimes like we just have slim pickings as far as people, because like a lot people may have called off. People were sick. Like, I know this week one day it was like I walked into our newsroom, like in our conference room, and I was like, where is everybody? I sat down and it was like me, my boss, like I was just like, where is everybody? Because people, you know, are sick or whatever, or they may have the day off. So it's just like sometimes that happens the day of, so we may not. But if we cannot physically go, we always say send us pictures. If you send us pictures and you send us the information, we can still get it in a show.
That's good.
Even if we can't physically be there.
Nice.
That's all, John. Y'all wrote that down. Because,
Yeah.
no,
Send it to us,
Yeah,
please.
there's a
Like,
lot
we
going
will
on in
always-
the city, especially this summer. I was like, whoa! Every time I looked up, there was something
It
going
is,
on.
yeah.
And I was like, that's nice.
And it's good news. Trust me, I say that all the time. Like, that's all I want to tell is good news.
Yeah.
I would rather tell that. I know we have to tell some of the bad, but I always tell, you know, I've told my bosses that. I said, we can't always go to neighborhoods when something bad happens. You can't. You have to go to that same neighborhood when something good is happening. Like, you have to, because if you don't, like, people remember. Viewers are not stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
and they're like, nah, y'all didn't come to what we had last week. And it's like, oh, you right. I'm sorry. Like, we didn't, you know? So it's like, you have to make sure of that, because seeing as how I was a reporter when I first came here and have been, like, I know in talking to people, like, we the first ones they gonna yell at, you know? And I get it. Like, absolutely, I understand that. So it's just like, nah, we got to make sure. And that's what I try to make sure that I do, is tell them, like, nah, yeah, we can't. Just as good. That's why I like when Futureland and Forbes 30 under 30 and other events, I say, excuse me, yeah, we got somebody to go to this, because like these are really great things that are happening in the city. Like, we have to go. And I mean, of course we were going to, but it was just like making that a priority.
Yeah, that's good. So I had a question. What do you feel like, one, what's the biggest misconception with Miss Shannon Smith? And then what's the biggest misconception people have about being a newscaster?
I don't know what's the biggest misconception. I don't know. I think people just in general see you on TV, so they think you're like, like, you know, like.
No, I get it. I get
They
it.
just think like, I tell you all the time, like, you probably saw me at the Target on 117th, like, because I do my own shopping. Like, nobody does anything for me. Like, I do not think of myself as a celebrity, and I know people are like, oh, but you are. I don't. You know why? Because my friends still treat me the same. My sisters still rag on me as the youngest. My parents still, you know, call me out. Like, my mama's still gonna yell at me. Like, it's going to be the same. I'm not any different than anybody else. So I just don't want anybody to think that. So I think sometimes that's the misconception, because people will just be like, oh my gosh, you just are. I'm like, I know what? I think they just don't expect me to be who I am, like, you know, because they see me as I am on TV, and I'm like, well, I am a certain way, but not really, because sometimes I catch myself on TV like, oh wait, like the way if something slipped out or I said something, like, you know, I remember the other day, like, Jeff was like, it's not that, our meteorologist, he was like, it's not that cold, and I was like, what's that cold? And my coworkers was like, look at, like, you know, and I was like, and he actually did a cruise in Alaska in September, and I was like, it's not that bad. You go to Alaska, you don't know what nah, it's not that bad, because you done went to Alaska, you know what cold is. You come back here, 30s and 40s, not cold to you. Okay, cool. Like, right. But it's like, I catch myself, because that is just the way that I am. And so I think that's a misconception. I think with reporters or anchors in general, I think everybody assumes we have this ego or like this big head, which some people do. Some people do. But it's about being humble. I tell people, like, listen, I could lose my job tomorrow. Not gonna. Not gonna do it. I can take my job tomorrow. But we could all, you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing separating me or from somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, literally. And that's the thing, is when you put yourself on a pedestal, and part of this is because my grandfather was a pastor for forever, and he retired, and so we always talked about that, how like people put pastors on pedestals, and it's like, no, you can't. You're still a human, and like you could fall, and it's like the higher you try to put somebody on a pedestal, like the harder it is gonna be when they fall. So it's like, don't be up there. So get right here.
So I was wondering, cause like I feel like Kanye sometimes. When someone would see me on the street, so they be like, "What's your name, Mr. Pull-Up Man?" I'm like, you know, okay.
You just got a little crazy. You know, he's on Kanye. He got a little mental.
He got a little right.
So I make sure I keep my ego, you know, to a certain
Please.
No, I talk about
pastors on
that.
pedestals too.
Yeah, they do. They do, and it's funny when I get it, like when people do like recognize me out, and even people assume that I get recognized everywhere. No. And I'm kind of happy, because sometimes I be out here looking crazy. I'm just running to the store right quick. I'm not about to put on no makeup and do whatever. Like, no, I'm just walking my dog. But it is one of those things where I'm just like, I get it. People are excited, and I am too. Like, it's not like, I mean, because I appreciate it. It's like, wow, you really
that's
like
good.
think on somebody. Like, hey, you know, I know. That's how it makes me like feel, and it is good to hear like just good feedback. Like I enjoy when people are just like, oh, we love watching you, because I like to ask like, well, why, you know, because there are other channels that people could watch. So it's like, well, why do you like watching us, you know, or why do you like watching me? And I appreciate it the most because it just reaffirms like, this is what I'm made to do. Because when I was in my very first station, I actually was pulled off the air because I was horrible. Like, that's just point blank. I was horrible. And really the thing is that I am very animated when I talk. And I just kind of felt like, because again, you think you're supposed to fit into this mold as a journalist, and so I thought like, well, I can't be too animated. Like, nah, I gotta tone it down. I gotta be like here. I gotta be like proper. I gotta like, like it's a whole thing. And so when I was on air, I was doing that. I used to always have like a paper in my hand so that I wouldn't use my hands, and I was just like this, and I would stand so stiff. And my boss literally pulled me into his office, my news director, and was like, yeah, I gotta take you off air. He was just like, because I don't know. He was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I know how you are in person. It's just not translating on air. Like, you're just not bringing that same energy or personality or whatever. And honestly, it's because I thought you can't have a personality in news. Like, you could be a news personality, but you can't have a personality. Because in my mind, I thought like, you're too, but like I was just like, I'm a bubbly person, like, and I'm like, but I can't do that during the news because the news is serious. And then I was like, no, what I learned over time is that no, what it is you have to have energy, period. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're telling a bad story or a good story, like, you still have to have energy. And if anything, like, you have to have, and I appreciate my boss telling me this one time of like, well, you have a warmth to you. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. And he was like, because you want, at least if you're going to get some bad news, you want to hear it from somebody who like, at least it's going to be a way about it. Be a little gentle. And so I was like, no, that's where my personality, I feel like, fits, is because I used to always want to be in entertainment, because I was just like, no, my personality fits that better. And I was like, no, but think about how you could help in local news, because it's like people would be able to hear it from you, and you could just change part of what people's perception is when they hear the news and what they think the news is. It's like, nah, I want to break the out of that. And so I was off the air in my first job for like 2 months. Now I could do stories, you just didn't see me, you just heard me. But during that time, I worked weekends, I was practicing on the weekends, like going in the studio, like
you gotta stop carrying on.
Like practiced and just made sure like, okay. And then I did, and since then I was just like, man, F them papers. I'm not about to hold them. I'm like, nah, man, forget that. Like, I'm gonna be who I am. Like, and I completely like let go of that notion of like, this is how you should sound or be or anything. Like, nah, I was like, I'm gonna let my personality shine, and if people don't like it, then they ain't gotta hire.
Because it is so much easier to receive the news, like, because we get the news. Like, people change any channel and get the news. but it is easier to actually ingest it and receive it. Like when I watch you guys this in the morning and stuff. Maybe I wake up with you, Shannon.
Hey, come on, what's that?
Now she be woke.
I know, I do.
I be playing in the background.
I do. Well, you know what's so funny is when I go to work, he works in like master control, which is literally a huge control room with all these monitors, and they're literally the people who like keep everything on air, like our newscast programming, all the different shows. And so every time I'm like, wake up, Don, because I'm coming down the hallway like, wake up. It's like 3:30. He's like, I'm still asleep. And I'm just like, wake up. He's like, why do you have all this energy? And I was like, I don't know. But like, because I do, like, I hype myself up. Like, I listen to music when I come in. Our security guard is like, I'm always like, what is she bumping to? Because she was like, you just be bumping in the parking garage. I'm like, girl, I just got to get hyped. Like, I got to get my zone. Like, I got to get the mood, the vibe. I got to set it off. Like, whatever. Like, if I'm putting on makeup, I'm in the makeup room like it's loud. Like I have to wake myself up. And honestly, waking up is not the hard part. It's just staying awake throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because like I'm good at like through 9 through 10. It's like usually like 10 o'clock because I have my space heater on my desk. So that's when I start to be like, okay, I'm getting a little sleepy. Like, when the heater's on. But it's not a bad. People always ask me that, like, oh, do you like hate because you gotta wake up so early? And I'm like,
and I'll touch your camera like, when you turn up.
I know. Well, so my schedule is literally 2:30 to 10:30. So I am in work. I'm at the station at 2:30. But my alarm goes off at 1:30. Now, do I wake up at 1:30? Nah. I keep hitting snooze a lot. But I usually do. I could do stuff during the week. It just depends, like on if I want to, and it really depends on how I'm feeling. If my body is really not feeling it, and I'm just like, nah, I really need to rest, then I will say I'll rest. But I may go out, pop out a little bit sometimes. Not a whole bunch of days in the week. But if it's like a Friday, if it's like a Thursday, I've done stuff or whatever. I know the Cavs, they actually had their media night where they invite like all media from all the different stations and entities or whatever, and that was on a Monday. And I was like, why would y'all do that on Monday? Like, fine. But it was from 4 to 7. And I was there till like 6:30. Then I went home. And I usually go to bed like 7:30 at the latest. Is when
Even in the summer?
Push it, yeah.
So you go to sleep before the sun even go down?
Girl, and I ain't had no blackout curtains. I'm just sitting here like looking at the sun, like
7.
turning my back to the window. Because I was like, oh, this is horrible. And it was. That's why I'm telling y'all. I know everybody can't wait till it's dark. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Because I'm going to be in bed super early.
Oh, that's a different level of dedication. You don't realize that. Because morning anchor is like where you want to be for real. But then it's like, is it where you
I know, and that's what too. Like, it's funny because my schedule before I became morning anchor was the complete opposite. I was working 3:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. So I was going to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning because I was watching my shows, and I came home because I still had like a lot of energy. And so to change that was like, whew, but I'm so used to it that like honestly on the weekends I wake up without an alarm clock. I think it was yesterday I woke up at like 4:30 and I was like, don't you dare.
Right, man.
I was like, how dare you? And I didn't even have an alarm, and I like turned over real quick, like no, because it is. But I like it because getting off at 10:30, everybody's rolling into work, and I'm like,
that part is lovely. That part is
go get my
lovely.
groceries or do whatever, and like I have all that time, and especially like on a Friday. Now, obviously, yes, on a Sunday I have to do it a bit earlier, but it just depends.
That's dope. Get off that early.
Oh yeah,
because you could do all your appointments for real.
And I do get like when I wake up, it is like when you first wake up, you like, but then I'm like, I'm gonna be back here in like a very short time,
right?
A very short time, and that's a misconception a lot of people have is people think for whatever reason that if you work in news, you come in like 5 minutes before the show starts, and then you leave right after it's done.
Is that another
I work a full 8 hours, sometimes longer. Like, no. I would cry if I walked in 5 minutes before. That happened one time because I got stuck in the snow at 2 o'clock in the morning. I think it was last year. My car got stuck right off of 9th, right off the shoreway, right by First Energy. I got stuck. One of our photographers came to help push me out, and we got out. But then I was trying to park in front of the station because I knew I wasn't going to get up the parking garage. And my car wasn't even parked. It was just kind of, my little end was out, but I was like, screw it, because it was like literally 4:00 something, and the show started at 4:30, and I had to do like at 4:30. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave it here, and I'm just gonna run in. And I ran in. I don't think I even got to like look at the scripts. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be real interesting. I like rushed in. I was just like, ooh, and I don't like that because like you're flustered. You're like, however,
Feel
but
like you're not prepared.
yeah, like you're not prepared, and that's one thing I will not do is I'm always gonna look over a script, like always. You know, I'm not having a Ron Burgundy Anchorman moment where somebody gonna.
I'm trying to stop from like referring to Anchorman because that's like all my knowledge of.
No, it is. It's like that. I mean, not that anybody would sabotage you, but one of my favorite producers, he like is horrible at spelling everybody in Newsies, honestly. So he'll put words in there, and the other day he was writing motivation, but he ain't finished the word, and so I was like. Excuse me, did you think I was just supposed to know? He's like, well, I figured you knew, right? He's like, I figured you knew what I was talking about. But did I? Now, luckily, I looked at the script beforehand, so it wasn't like, I was like, you're not even trying. At this point, you're not even trying.
But y'all
Like,
work
you
so
got
good
me,
together.
you got me.
Right, I know.
Like, you
We
got
do it.
me,
We work
you got
so
me.
well together. Like, I could read something and I'd be like, no, what was that? Like, I'd be like, no, I did, you know, but we do. Like, we have fun. Like, that's my goal in the morning. I've told my boss that, like, I always want to make sure we have a good vibe.
That's good.
Because one, it's too early in the morning to be mad. And it's like, two, it's just like, if you don't enjoy your space that you're working in, like, you're not really going to enjoy doing your work.
That's good.
So I like to have a
Shout out to
vibe.
y'all,
Like,
by the way.
like, right. He was so excited.
I really was. I really was.
You put that on her. She really thought that she was excited.
I really was. I missed y'all, man. On camera saying it too. I got no problem saying
Oh,
that.
shout out to
He
you
missed
too,
us, bro. We
Brandon.
missed the pull up.
Yes, we did. We definitely missed it. We definitely missed it.
Yeah,
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
We missed you for real.
We're glad to
Even
be
put on
back.
lotion, y'all. It's
She
real
did
out here.
ask him. Listen, this is the season, right? It'd be real cold.
Yeah,
really
we
do.
get brisk
And it just be
outside.
asking you. You'd be like, wait, I know I put on. lotion.
Exactly.
But I heard in the back of my head, get in those corners.
Mhm.
I'm so
Well,
glad
that's what you gotta do. Right here.
I'm
You
so
gotta
proud of
get
you.
on. Back of the hand.
That's the spot.
The wrist.
So real quick, we talk about the past, talk about the present, talk about the future.
Ooh.
What does the future hold for you? Because I know, you know what I'm saying, we love you here in Cleveland, you know. But what is the, not saying end goal, what does the future hold for you?
I don't know. That's such a hard question because I think being in this business, you're almost taught to like think contract to contract, and you're always thinking about the next. Always. Like I remember my first contract, I was like, oh, where do I want to go next? Like I had just signed the line, and I'm like, oh, but where do I want to go next? And so I feel like I am so much more into the present, into the now, and thinking like, but this is what I need to live for now.
That's good.
Because if I'm so focused on that, I'm gonna completely miss. Because sometimes like a 3-year deal goes by so quick that you like,
Yeah.
dang. And it's like sometimes when you move to a city that you don't know anybody, which is what I've always done, it's like it takes you that amount of time to like find your people and like get involved and like really start feeling like a sense of being there. So it's like I don't even think, and I really now I'm just like, you know what, God, whatever you want to do, order my steps, because Cleveland was not on my radar. Like when I was in Buffalo, it was the whole panini in 2020, and I wasn't even thinking about, though my contract was coming up and it was ending, I was not thinking about like, oh, what's my next move? Because we was still in the pandemic. I was just like, is it gonna be a next move? Like, what's gonna happen? Because I didn't know. And Cleveland, literally the opportunity came out of nowhere. And it came up so fast that I almost was like, I don't know if I want to take it. Because I was just like, wait, this happened too quick. Like, I don't know if this is right. And then I just prayed about it and was like, you know what, God, if you want me to go there, let's roll. Like, we're just going to be there, you know? And I did, and it was like one of the best decisions ever because so much has happened since I moved here and so many great things that I'm like, okay.
She likes it here, guys. She likes it
I do.
here.
I
She
really
likes
do
it.
like Cleveland. I really do. And I just feel like it's a great city. It's got great people. It's got great food. And I
Ooh,
understand
yes.
that, like, it takes a while for cities to change and for us to see all the change that we want to see. And I always tell people, like, it's great, but like don't feel like you got to go to Atlanta or DC. Those have the things that they need. Like, if you want it here, build
Come on
it
now,
here.
Shannon.
Like, build it here. Because
Yes.
you have the base for it, and you have the audience for it, and you have, like, build it and they will come. You know, like, I truly believe that. So,
That was a
like,
Build it and they will come.
they will, you know. So it's like, don't feel like you have to go all these other places in order to, because if anything, you want to build up your home, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you want to, like, so I just feel like, no, the Cleveland is great. And so will I be here longer than my contract if my boss allows? Like, he you know, I know he says it like he has no problem. So
Yeah.
when I say, because honestly, before I came here, I said I was not moving to another city that I couldn't stay for a couple of years. Because I was like, I'm tired of moving.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to keep moving. So I was like, I'm not bouncing around every 2-3 years. I want to be able to be somewhere where I could be for a little bit.
That's good.
And so now, I mean, I've been here 3 years. So
I was gonna ask you that. Like, have you been to somewhere where you felt like you want to stay there? Nice to be Cleveland.
it is Cleveland right now,
Yeah,
like it is.
yeah.
I mean, I also feel like you get to a point, at least in this business and any industry, quite frankly, that you're not just like, oh, I gotta move. You want to make sure your next move is a good move for you. So it's like, I'm not just being like, oh, I'm gonna stay here in Cleveland, like, or I'm gonna leave. And it's like, no, why would no, like, from where I'm sitting, I always want to be a morning anchor. I am that right now.
Yeah.
I have a very good, like, good feeling in the newsroom as far as, like, I get along with my coworkers. I love my team in the morning. I love my boss. Like, I know that I matter and what I say matters. So it's like, why would I want to leave that or give that up? Like, that's what I worked hard to get to. Not just the position, but, like, to be able to, like, what I do matters. And when I walk into the newsroom, like, okay, I can have a conversation, you know, with my boss or something like that. Like, that to me is, like, real power. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that if I'm making any boss move, it's that I'm able to speak up, my voice can be heard in the rooms, and I can be in the rooms that I need to be in. So it's like, I don't want to just give that up to just go anywhere.
Right.
And it's tricky because nowadays, like, you go to a place and it seems all cute and cool, and then it's not what it turned out to be. So I'm just like, nah, at this point, it's God's plan. Like, whatever he wants to do, if he wants me to stay here, if he wants me to go somewhere else. Because everybody assumes that I want to go back to Chicago. And I love Chicago. Chicago will always be home. But honestly, I watch the news there and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's just like, it's not the same vibe, you know, as what I know I do here. So it just depends. It has to be like the right move and opportunity.
No,
So you kind of stuck with me for now.
Hey, listen.
We love it.
We, on behalf of Cleveland, we're saying we appreciate you. You're honorary Clevelander now. So, okay. We talked about some great things tonight, and I would like to. This is what I asked all our guests. For all the great things we talked about today, what are 3 main things you want somebody to take away from tonight's interview tonight? I mean, we talked about some great stuff.
Right. Ooh.
Just some little boy or little girl.
Or it can be
Oh.
something that you haven't said, we didn't ask.
Oh, we didn't ask.
It can be something.
No, I think it is, like, honestly following your passion. Like, at the end of the day, like, knowing who you are as a person and really trying to find that journey or path or career that really fits that. Because when you do, then it never feels like work. Like, I never wake up feeling like, I hate this job. Like, some days I'm like, but it really is, like, I really love what I do, and it does not feel like work. And so I think that's important. I think just building and having a good community and just staying humble, period. It doesn't matter if you are in news or not. Just staying humble and making sure you have the right people around you. Because what I will say that I didn't say is that part of my job is, what I've learned is that I have really great friends, because we were talking about this actually recently, because when it comes to social media, like, my friends are not posting anything about me or of me that would ever ruin my job or anything like that, or anything that's compromising. Like, no. And not like it is anything out there to do, but at any time if we're together or we have a girls trip or anything, like, they know not to post anything. They know not to. My family knows to not, like, comment all up on my page or anything like that. And it's like knowing that you got to watch the company that you keep, like, really and truly. And that's just with any business, you know, because any job could look at your social media profiles and that of your friends. So
I couldn't mob social media.
yeah, like being mindful of that. Yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that if anybody, I guess, wants to be in this business, it's just be yourself. Like, as cliche as that sounds, that's literally what has gotten me through. When I realized that being myself is literally my superpower, and that's what makes me, like, stand out and really make me great at my job, like, oh, the world has been my oyster since. Because it's just like, wow, I was like, oh, all I have to do is be myself. Like, I did that ages ago. That's going to be forever. Like, but it really is be yourself, because everybody's going to try to tell you a certain way to be or do. And just remember, like, there is no box anymore. Like, you don't have to be in it, because there's no box. Like, you can create your own, and be okay with that, and be confident in it, you know? Like, nobody ever told me, oh, do this, it works. Like, no, I just realized, like, oh, no, I just have to be Shannon. Like, that's it. And that's what people want to see, especially when you're on the news, because people can see the real, they can see the fake.
Oh,
real
yes,
easy.
they can.
Real easy. And no matter what anybody wants to believe, like, they will call you out to your face or not. But they will let you know. So it's like, just be honest. Be real. That's all.
That's good stuff.
In any way.
So part 2, we got. Maybe we can come by the studio or something like that.
Oh, look at
And say,
you.
you know what I'm saying? See what it's like to be in a news.
Oh, for sure. I tell you, when we give tours,
Bet.
we give tours, we shadow or whatever. Like, it's all because I like for people to see like what it's like. Cause it's just a lot of misconceptions, and I get it. Like, you don't know what a news studio looks like. You don't know, but it is. It's a cool place to work and be, but it's a lot that people don't know. Job wise, that's available, and just like how the news actually works as a production in the morning. Yeah.
No, definitely. Shannon, we appreciate your time, because
Yes, thank
it's just one thing to
you.
see you on TV, but to actually sit here across from you is another thing.
experience.
It is.
Yeah. Experience me. Oh my gosh. That was too much. No, I appreciate it. I love talking to people, because it is like, I think people just think it's one thing, and I like to really be honest. Like, there's no makeup artist, there's no hairstylist, there's no stylist, period. Like, those things don't exist with news anymore. Like, everything that you see on a person most of the time is just them, which is why I tell people, like, I understand if you want to be critical, but like, know that especially these younger people who are just starting out, they don't have that guidance. Like, we didn't have a class in school that said, hey, this is what you should wear, how you should look, how you should dress. You know, like, nobody knows that. It's not like a station is sending you out to Sephora, like, okay, this is your color, this is how you know, match. Like, no. So it's like, when people maybe are not looking as you think they should look, like, maybe ask or offer support. Say, hey, listen, I know this really great makeup artist. Here's her Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to offend. Or, hey, I know this, you know, like, help guide them. Don't just criticize and be like, oh, like, good. No. Help, encourage. That's all.
And like, we know where to catch you at, but just for anyone who's watching this doesn't know where to social media.
Ooh. Like, I gotta remember my handles, because I never like and it says at the bottom. Okay, my Facebook page is just Shannon Smith. I think the actual TV handle is like Smith TV News. And then on Instagram, it is s.smithtv.
Yep, and I have in the show notes, guys. So you got to follow her, see her great.
Oh, yeah.
Be on TV, being a very personal. So,
and I'm on, every morning, 5 to 8.
Yes.
On CBS.
Yes, guys.
And at 9.
Good stuff. God, it feels so good being back. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is like my home away from home.
Aww. I know, I'm so honored to be back in all of y'all. Like,
our first interview being back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, so
like
we are back.
Yeah.
And we are back.
Let me be clear.
Right. So we want to thank y'all for coming out. This is episode 154, guys. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so rusty. I forgot. We got to pay some bills, right? We got to announce we're having today, guys. We're having our entrepreneur dating game.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be fire.
Yes.
It is going to be so much fun.
Yes. Shout out
so
to
many laughs and so many entrepreneurs get to learn how it is to date somebody that's in the same field.
We do it old school, like the TV show, like One Bachelor, Three Bachelorettes. All the questions, but they're all related to, because you know, when you are in business or even have like a prominent career, it's tough to find somebody who's able to be okay with that. So, yeah, we go through the motions where all of us are kind of in this situation, and we're all single. So,
Why she's
yeah, it's fun. It's a definitely. It's
No, it's
always
rough out here.
Yeah, it's sweetest day, you know.